Hello, my name's Kathleen. I'm one of the spirit operators. In this video, we're going to take a look at what I would call neutral spirits. The reason I refer to them as being neutral is a lot of times like they have work to do, or whatever they're up to. I don't really know that they're doing anything negative, and I don't really know that they're doing anything positive. I would hope they're doing positive things. So I'll just get into it, because I couldn't really put them in like a negative category or positive, not from my experience. So a few years ago, I was getting to understand and learn about the indigenous culture here in Canada, and I was taking some classes and we were learning about interacting with spirit, and the teacher was talking about making offerings. So if there's a place, especially a place of nature that you go to, it's a good idea to make an offering to the spirits that are in that place, that are looking after that place. And so we got that teaching, and one of the other students had said that they had interacted with what they referred to as sort of guardian spirits. So that's what I call them. Again, you may have different experience or different name. And the guardian spirits look after a section of land. I'm not sure how large of a section, but long ago, when the world was all natural, they would look after the land. They mold it, shape it, take care of it, right? Look after it. And this student also said that he was interacting with this guardian spirit and asked them, how long is time for you? Like, how do you conceive of time? And so he was explaining, like, for a human, a year, we would have, winter, spring, summer, fall. And the guardian spirit said, well, for them, winter is more of an ice age. They would count that. So these spirits have been around for a very long time, and their concept of time is much slower than ours. So they look after a section of land, and I discovered I made offering where I lived, not where I'm living now, but where I lived before, when I was taking these classes. There was a creek right next to the building I lived in, and there was a path along the creek that I could take me to the grocery store. So I'd walk to the grocery store, and I decided, like, I really enjoyed walking along that path, seeing the creek, all the plants and animals and everything there. So I decided I would make an offering, and I was taught to ask what they would like, if they have a preference for me to make an offering. And so I made an offering to the creek, to the water there, and a little while later, I don't know how long, I went to take the path to go for groceries, and a spirit showed up, and it was rectangular in shape with like a head, roundish, ovalish head on top, solid black, and was blocking me from getting on the path. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to mess with you. And I took the long way around to get my groceries, and did for a while, until it was clear to be able to go that way. And when it was clear, there had been a subsidence. The ground had shifted. There was a wall around a waterfall part that had fallen into the water. Part of the hill had collapsed down. There was a bench on the hill that had collapsed and been partially crushed. So I realized, okay, I'm assuming because I made the offering, because I connected and was just thanking them, right? And just acknowledging that these spirits, these entities exist, I was being protected. So I just find it's important, if this is something you're interested in, to acknowledge the spirits, especially if there's a place of nature that you like to go to, that you frequent, to thank the guardian there, to thank the other spirits for looking after that piece of land, and for allowing you to be able to enjoy it. I have moved here, and again, I was making offerings different places around the place. And so the guardian spirit, similar appearance, not quite as like long rectangle, a bit shorter, but still a similar appearance to the previous one, came up to me and was really upset because they're doing construction, and I'm surprised because it's a native organization, an indigenous organization, and they haven't, I don't know, right? Times have changed, but no one's told the spirit what's going on. And so this guardian spirit came up, like, was asking, like, why are these things happening? What's going on? And so I was trying to explain, and so every time I sort of get an inkling as what they're going to be doing, because they've ripped up trees, dug up the earth, done a lot of things, and I've tried to let him know, give him a warning so that he can adjust. I don't know if I already said this, but what the student who told us about these guardian spirits had told us was that litter is like an itch they can't scratch. They can't do much about it, and they don't like the litter. So again, if there's a place you enjoy, if you're willing to, it would be very kind to pick up the litter, just to alleviate sort of the stress from these guardian spirits. Anyway, so yeah, it's good to acknowledge the spirits in a place, and if you're making changes, if you have a home and you have a backyard and you're going to be cutting down trees, to just kind of let nature and let any spirits that are there know this is what's going to be happening and why you're doing it, and that just helps to alleviate like that stress, because they can't control what the humans are doing, rearranging, because they've been working on these places for thousands of years, and then humans just come along and within a couple of years just change everything. So again, that's just one of the natural, neutral spirits. I refer to them as guardian spirits, and I would assume there's different ones in different places. Another type of neutral spirit that these are all just how I classify them, are nature spirits. And I have given offerings in different places, again, trying to interact and learn and acknowledge the spirit's presence. And there are times when I'll be walking and I'll go by a small forest or something, and I'm asked to please bring an offering. And then the next time I go by, I try to make sure the next time I make an offering. And then for me, usually after I make the offering, then the spirit presents themselves so that I can see them. And so they come in different forms. I have seen many animal spirits. I've also seen a tree spirit one time. And I've also seen, if you're familiar with the anime Princess Mononoke, and there's these little white spirits that I think she interacts with at some point in the movie, or they're in the movie at some point. I've seen many things like that. Not exactly the way they're portrayed in the movie, but very similar. And so I mean, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, and I don't want to say anything wrong. I don't know if they would be what the indigenous population call little people. I don't know. They are spirits, and so I have seen those as well, and I've seen something that I never ever expected to see. It was like a sea serpent, half female, half serpent. That was a very interesting day. Anyway, so I just call them nature spirits. They're out in nature, and like I said, if I make an offering, then these spirits show themselves to me. I I can sense them sometimes if I'm at a place that someone is having problems because they feel it's haunted, or someone's seen something, and so then I'll go and interact, so I can usually communicate with them if that's the case, and then find out if they want offerings, what's going on, that sort of thing. But I call them nature spirits, and again, I would just classify them as neutral, because I don't know. I can't say that they're good, and I can't say they're bad. They're just there. And I haven't, because they're out in nature, I guess, and they're not like haunting someone's home or some place like a building where humans are. I haven't asked them if they wanted to ascend. So now that I've said that, I'll see about doing that in the future if that's something they might be interested in. But it seems to me like so far the ones I've talked about, the guardian spirits and the nature spirits, they just seem to be sort of working or protecting or whatever they're doing in the area. Yeah, I guess in the future I'll ask if they would like help to ascend. Anyway, sorry. I digress. So the next set of what I would call neutral spirits are kind of what I call lost spirits. And they're ones that, well, they come to me asking for me to help them ascend. I don't know that, like, I guess that's their purpose. I have found that when you begin to interact with spirit, they kind of get excited because here's someone who's acknowledging us. There's someone who's listening, paying attention, and is willing to help. And so I guess word spreads that you do this work. So I get what I call lost spirits, and they come here usually to my home, and they want me to help them to ascend. They tend to make noises here at my place. They don't tend to show themselves. They don't even really like do things to frighten me, but they'll make noise. Like, I had a big green garbage bag in my kitchen. I was just sitting there, and suddenly a whole pile of noise came from within the garbage. But like, I looked over, my cat's like, "What's going on?" And there was no movement at all of the bag, but the noise kept going, and I was like, okay, that's a spirit who is trying to get my attention so that I can help them ascend. Sometimes I can hear voices, noises like that, then I'll ask, and other things. So they tend to make noises around here to let me know that they're here and they're looking for help. So yeah, I think that's it for the neutral spirits. I'm just gonna double check, see if I missed anything, but I don't think so. Because like even last night, I got a voice, a male voice, who said Mike, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then later I said, okay, and then I told him how to ascend. Sorry, the air quality here has not been good lately, with all the forest fire smoke, so my throat's a little off. Anyway, yeah, so to help them ascend, again, they just let them know they need to have a mind of compassion, and I just describe how to go about achieving that, because the thing with spirits, they're a lower realm than humans. They tend to be really self-centered, self-absorbed. That they don't really tend to think about. Now I can't say all of them, but some of them, they don't. If they're anyway, they're self-absorbed. They're not really thinking about helping others or being concerned for others, and so all they need is to have a mind of compassion for others, and then they'll ascend, because they're in a lower realm, and it's very unusual for them to have a mind of compassion, and that's all it takes. So anyway, that's what I do. Okay, well, that's it for the video, I think. Hope I covered everything. Anyway, I really appreciate you watching. Again, if you're interested, there's a website that we have, and we're also on Bluesky. There's a description below, and so you can follow us or check them out. Anyway, I've got a blog on there where I talk about the different experiences I've had through my life. And yeah, thank you again so much for watching. I hope this has helped you or given you some information that you could use, and hope to see you again. Thanks very much. Bye.